Hi everyone, this is Jamie Castillo and this is my event proposal project for PE 556. So the event that I wanted to propose was an invitational swim meet, which pretty much is just an officiated swim meet for a club team. The event name would be called Orange Coast Invitational Swim Meet. And the reason why I chose this name is because I chose the location of Orange Coast College out in Costa Mesa, and I made a fictional swim team to go with that location. Going to slide 2, you'll see the main concept and feasibility of the event. So the main concept is to offer an opportunity for swimmers to get a personal record and better their times, and also be able to inspire youth swimmers into swimming and understanding the sport of swimming. With the 2024 Summer Olympics coming to Los Angeles, I feel that it is a great opportunity to start a swim meet now, so that way it can gear those swimmers' attentions to the sport of swimming, because in 6 years or so, swimmers who are around the ages of 10 and a little bit younger may actually be able to qualify for the Summer Olympics, or at least go to what we would call time trials. So we'd want to start them young. The feasibility of the event comes in a wide variance, so it is going to be extremely expensive, but being put on by a swim team, there's a lot of volunteer work and a lot of donations for snack bar, so that does help. You're also going to utilize the different community members to help out as well. But this is a great opportunity for the swim team to make a profit, and so that way they can supply different swim gear and maybe make the monthly fees for the swimmers a little bit cheaper as well. Going on to slide 3, we have the SWOTs. I divided it between strengths and opportunities and weaknesses and threats. So the strengths is that it's going to bring revenue to the team, like I said, which will help provide gear and different swimming opportunities, like fins and pool buoys that the swimmers may not be able to afford on their own. And it's also going to inspire youth to better their time, and they'll have the opportunity to get a personal record. By getting a personal record, this may allow them to qualify for different higher level swim meets. These are different regions and have different skill levels and more competitive, so it's really good for the swimmers. And then it'll allow the team to advertise themselves around the community. It'll bring a lot of different people in to see how the swim team works and how efficiently it runs. And it will also bring business, hopefully bring business to local businesses around, like different restaurants and stuff, because visiting teams will want to go there, and with programs and different sponsorships, they may actually utilize the local businesses around them. Weaknesses and threats. It is costly and it is time consuming, and you need to be very well organized in order to put on a swim meet, because there's a lot of different components that go into it. Space is limited at Orange Coast. The pool deck is beautiful, but you have to be able to organize efficiently, where you're going to have the timing chairs, where you're going to have the swim admin staff sit. All of that really needs to work cohesively. And you're also going to have a lot of visiting swim teams. For this particular event, I am approximating at least 10 swim teams to be present, with bringing about roughly around 50 swimmers for each swim team, which would bring about 500 swimmers total. That's also including the Orange Coast swim team that is hosting the meet. And then there also may be computer issues and different equipment issues. This kind of goes with the touch pads and pickles and whatnot. Weather can also play a part. So those are the different weaknesses. Threats, though, the only threats that I foresee is being possibly getting a citation or any type of violations. For USA Swimming, there are several different procedures and policies that a swim meet would need to follow and the swim team would need to follow in order to have a swim team ran correctly. If for whatever reason they didn't follow these policies and procedures, they can receive a violation, which would could possibly stop the swim team from practicing and participating in any other events. They can have a city violation. There's a possibility that the snack bar wasn't approved, and so therefore they may have those rights revoked. And then in the event that the pool is too crowded to feed the spectators. You're going to have a lot of complaints that way, and you want to make sure that the pool is not at over capacity as well. Moving on to slide 4 is the budget. So I divided it into expenses and revenues. So it looks like there's a lot more expenses than there is revenue, but they do balance out. For expenses, you have the pool rental. Being that the Orange Coast swim team practices at Orange Coast College, they will allow for a little bit of leeway in renting out the pool space because they have a partnership. You do need to hire police and security guard staff just to walk around the premises. Possible lifeguards, this is optional. Not every swim team utilizes them on the pool deck, but it is recommended. You also will have a USA Swimming administration. These are about 3 different individuals who come to the pool deck, and they help print out the different heat and lanes, results, rosters. They make sure everything's running smoothly on the computer part so that coaches don't have to worry about it or parents. These do need to be trained, so you do have to pay them for that. Referees. Most of the time you'll only need 2 referees, depending on how big the swim meet is, but you would want to at least have 4, possibly 6. This would be because you want to switch them around, give them breaks. That way referees aren't cranky, and a swim meet would run a lot smoother without a lot of disqualifications and nitpickiness. Equipment rentals or purchasing equipment. You have touch pads, which is if it's in the water, it's when the swimmer touches the wall and it stops the time clock. Pickles, which is like a secondary stopwatch, but you don't have to write the time. And then stopwatches. Paper goods, canopies for timers and refs, snack bar. So snack bar will most likely be donated for the most part, but in case the swim team didn't get a lot of donations, you would want to purchase those. So that way you can have a fully stocked snack bar and not a lot of angry people. Permits to hold the event, and the USA Swim sanctions. USA Swimming sanctions is you would send in your proposal into the USA Swimming Council. You would say they have to approve it and make sure everything's up to date and with regulations. Moving on to revenue. Each individual swimmer has to pay into a swim meet entry fee. There's a $10 surcharge and then $4 per event. And then the swim team, if they choose to have a relay for a certain age group, it would be $10 per relay. This, if you're looking at it, $10 surcharge, and you want to assume that each swimmer is going to at least do 4 events, this brings in for 500 swimmers would bring in about $10,000. And then if each swim team, assuming that there's 10 competing, did at least 3 relays, this would bring in about $300 total. That would definitely be above the expenses mark that you would be putting in. And then snack bar may possibly bring in about $500, and then you would have a merchandise booth. This would most likely just be for your swim team parents who would want to purchase any type of gear like t-shirts, hats, towels, possibly, little things like that. Moving on to slide 5 is our personnel. So I split it up between paid and volunteer. So the paid is you have to pay your coaches who are coaching. The USA Swim admin, like I said before, you would need to pay referees. This would cost about $300 for each referee, give or take. It depends on how advanced they are, and you also may get a discount if you hire them through USA Swimming. And then also any type of security or police staff to walk around the pool deck to make sure that there's no rowdy people. Moving on to volunteers, these volunteers are normally either community members or swimmers who are not swimming at that time, and parents. So they have to be timers. There's about 3 timers for each lane, assuming that there's about 6 lanes. You would need 18 timers. People running snack bar, you would want at least 5 people at the snack bar, depending on what you're having. Runners, this is a position that they help post all the rosters, heat and lanes, results. They also give the timers a little timing sheet so they can write down the time in the event that the touch pads and the pickles don't work. Pool deck marshal, this is somebody who is just going to stand off to the side and make sure that the kids aren't fooling around in the water or running so they don't slip and fall. They're just kind of monitoring. Pool marshal can also be a lifeguard. I didn't include a lifeguard on this PowerPoint slide because they are optional. And the last part is staging. This is for younger swimmers who are only swimming at what we call a 25-yard race. It's only one lap, so they help stage them, put them in their lanes, so that way their parents aren't running around completely and missing their events. Going to slide 6, we have vendors and sponsorships. So there will be a merchandise table. This will have one for the swim team, but also one that's going to do like the silk screen shirts. It'll have the swim meet title name on the shirt. They can put on like the different strokes that they swim, possibly their name. Most of the money would go to the vendor. We'd also have to hire the vendor, but depending on who does it, you can also get a little bit of money back, so that would be really nice. Lastly, there's a swim outlet booth that most swim meets have, and I would definitely have it at the swim meet. So in the event that your swimsuit breaks or you need an extra cap or goggles, they bring in clearance items, so to say, a little bit cheaper, but that way you can purchase whatever you want. And they also have little goodies like power bars, power gels, which is just an energy boost. Going on to sponsorships, you do have a partnership with USA Swimming, the City of Costa Mesa, and Orange Coast College because we're participating there. These won't bring in money for you, but definitely help bring the attention from the community onto you. So this will be great when forming bonds or getting attention. You will have the local businesses that you can possibly get sponsorships as well by just directly donating money for the swimming. For this particular swim meet, we will have programs. So in the programs, it has all the different events with all the different swimmers who registered for those events. And in between those pages, you can do advertisement by having people go out to the local community, asking people if they wanted to pay for advertisement. So for a full page, it would be $50, half a page is $30, and a quarter page is $20. And the way I did the pricing was that it promoted more companies to buy into the full page because they get more money, more bang for their buck. They can also buy into banners. So banners are displayed on the pool deck like by hanging them up. So that way everybody has an opportunity to kind of gaze up and see what's on the walls. This can be viewed by a lot of different people. It can bring a lot of different business to the local businesses. Most of the businesses that do this are like dentistries, chiropractic offices, little businesses such as that. So $100 for a small, $200 for a large. That way they can display their business all year round, which is really nice. Going on to slide 7, the event timeline. So Saturday and Sunday are pretty much going to be the same except for the mornings and the closing part. So 5 o'clock you would want to have everyone come in to help set up the pool deck. 6 o'clock, vendors and swimmers start coming in and setting up their little areas. 6:30, you would want to open check-in. So the way the check-in procedures work is that the swimmer comes up to a check-in table. The volunteer is going to ask them for their first and last name and their age group. They're going to look at a piece of paper, find that swimmer's name, highlight it. This shows that they were in, they're present, and they're ready to go, and write the name on the swimmer's hand. That way the swimmer knows what the event number they're swimming at. They can go check their heat and lane as the day progresses. Warm-ups will start at 7. That gives swimmers 30 minutes to check in. There will be a long swimming warm-up time, so that way it'll allow everybody to have an equal opportunity to warm up. Warm-ups will start at 8, end at 8:45. That means the pool is closed except for the designated warm-up area. At 8:50, there's a coaches meeting. This just goes over all the different rules and regulations. 8:55, you would do the national anthem and announcing of the officials. At 9 o'clock sharp, swim meet would start. Of course, there's a little bit of variance and nothing ever goes according to 100% according to plan, but that would be the general timeline. Swim meet would go. You would want to give the refs and the USA Swim admin desk a break for 30 minutes between 11 o'clock and 11:30. Swim meet would resume and end about 3 o'clock. The closing time, you would want to make sure that the pool deck is nice and cleaned up, trash is put away so there's no critters that are coming in and getting into the trash cans. bulky stuff can stay on the pool deck. You wouldn't have to remove those unless it was a really like bad weather day, like it's super windy or it's raining. You would want to put them away. Other than that, you can keep them out. Any expensive items would be locked away, and then you'd want to make sure that the pool manager locked up the pool so that nothing is getting stolen after that. Like I said, Sunday is going to pretty much be the same thing, except that at 6 o'clock you can show up and be there. You wouldn't have to be there at 5 because pretty much everything's already set up for you. Warm-ups and check-ins would run the same way, and the swim meet would have a 30-minute break. When you're closing, instead of keeping things up, you want to remove everything off the pool deck, make the pool deck cleaner than you found it, and then have somebody come up and lock up at 4 o'clock. Going on to transportation and parking. So if you look at slide 9, you can see the transportation and parking area. So I did write this is the campus of Orange Coast College. In the little yellow circle is the pool deck. It's pretty small compared to everything else. And in the red star, that's the parking lot in relationship to the pool deck. They would want to enter on Fairview Road. But of course, if that parking lot for whatever reason became too full, there is more to the left of that picture is more parking for everyone. But there should be a sufficient amount closer where that red star is at. Transportation, though, swimmers would need to provide their own transportation, either by parents and guardians, other family members. They could carpool with friends. It's just important to note that coaches are not allowed to bring swimmers themselves, as it is a sexual harassment charge, and very, very clearly stated by USA Swimming. They want to make sure that swimmers are always respected and not in any type of harm. Unless the coach, of course, they can bring the swimmers if they are related to them. Like if it's a father to his daughter or son swimmer, they can bring them. But that was the only reason why. They can't bring anybody else's kids or even family friends, as it could be a violation. And that is the rest of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to hearing everybody later on. Have a good day. Bye.